Hello guys, I hope everybody is doing good. We're going to be starting out with a very short video talking about what are the major changes that are happening in the curriculum for your CAIA level 1 for your 2026 exam. Okay, now few major changes have already happened, and the very big impact is on the ethics section, which was almost similar to what we saw in your CFA curriculum. Okay, the content was almost same. Now the CI curriculum has changed that also. So in this video, we're going to be talking about those details. We're going to be looking at which learning objectives have been added, which have been removed, and there are also some chapters whose names have been changed. So watch the video till the end to get the complete view of what has been changed for CI level 1 in your 2026 curriculum. Okay, so let us go to the main part. Okay, we all know this is the format. Okay, the format has almost been same. Okay, but instead of this, which is the professional standard and ethics, they have introduced a CAIA standards and ethics. Okay, the weightage is almost the same for people or students who are new. The exam is in 4 hours in total. There's section 1 which has 2 hours, section 2 which has 2 hours, and both has around 100 questions. Okay, it's a multiple choice question. There is no negative marking. And if you look at the weightage section, okay, the majority of the weightage is under this because a lot of chapters under this section. Okay, then there is also hedge fund, which is slightly important from the exam perspective, and then there was the ethics section. Okay, so we'll talk about now we have talked about the exam format. Now we'll go towards the changes. Okay, the biggest change has been the professional standard of ethics has been removed, and now it is going to be CAIA ethical principles. They have added 2 chapters into it. Okay, and we are also updating our curriculum. We are going to add the new chapter ka video also for the students who are going to be preparing for the upcoming exam. Okay, now when you look at this CAIA ethical principle, what they've done is they've completely removed, okay, this entire CFA Institute chapters or ethics part, and they've added these 2 new chapters: professionalism and fiduciary responsibility and ethics. Okay, and these are the new learning objectives that have been added in each of the chapters. So for first chapter, which is professionalism and fundamental fiduciary responsibility, there have been 4 learning objectives, and for ethics there has been around 4. Okay, so entire chapter is new, giving you the mindset, the thought process of why ethical behavior is important, and some case studies also. So this I feel is going to be slightly important. Okay, taking a cue from the CFA exam, CFA ethics itself, but this is something very new change that they have brought in for 2026. So please, students who are preparing for the exam, my suggestion, do these 2 chapters at the end, because currently the curriculum is not out for all the students, hence that could be an issue. Okay, next is the next big section is introduction to alternative investment. Okay, now when we talk about introduction to alternative investment, there are multiple chapters into it. When we talk about the first chapter, which is nothing but your what is alternative investment, what they've done is they have removed few specific learning objectives. Okay, this one was important in the last exam, but now they've changed it, they've got it out, and they've added 2 new, which is the buy side and the sell side participants. Again, giving you the perspective of what is happening in the industry. That is why they have added these 2 topics. So I feel they can be tested in your upcoming exam. Okay, the first part, which is the what is alternative investment. Next is the next chapter, which is your environment of alternative investment. The name is same. Okay, but what they've done, they have tried to remove the hedge fund section because there is a specific section talking about hedge funds. Okay, and they, instead of just giving you the introduction, they have added the fees, the calculation, all of these part into in detail, and these learning objectives have been removed from other chapters and have been brought here. Okay, so new learning objectives heavily being added into the chapter called as environment of alternative investment. Okay, from that perspective, there's a big change in this chapter also. So as a student, you should be reading this chapter properly. The next, which is your assessing the alternative investment, this entire chapter has been deleted, and what they've done is they've taken all of these learning objectives and they've moved it to some other location or some other chapters. But from the chapter perspective, this chapter is completely out, so you have to remember that and do not just overread that chapter. Okay, within the quantitative foundation part, there was one part which was basically on cash waterfall structure, which is connected to your hedge fund. That has been removed and no new learning objective has been added. Okay, so very minimal change in this chapter. Statistics part, okay, is also that there is one more chapter, statistics, economics and all of these chapters have not been entirely changed. There's no change into that, no learning objective change. Only few chapters, which is the initial 3 chapters, there the learning objectives have been changed. Okay, one more interesting part is that there is a chapter which was alpha, beta and hypothesis. In 2025 curriculum, they've just changed the name of the chapter. The learning objective still remains the same. And like I mentioned, assessing the alternative investment, that entire chapter has been removed. Okay, so from that perspective, okay, this was one of the biggest section of your exam, the introduction to alternative investments. We have covered that, and now we're going to be moving towards the next, which is real asset. Again, over here there's been no change in the curriculum. All the learning objectives remain the same for each and every chapter, so pretty much almost same as 2025. Okay, if you do not have the 2026 book, you can start with these topics and continue preparing for the exam. Okay, the next is venture capital. Within the private equity section, there are 3 chapters. Okay, what they've done, previously the chapter name was venture capital, they've changed the chapter name to venture capital and growth equity. Okay, and they've added few new learning objective. Look at this part, the growth equity as a concept, new concept has been added, and they've added the valuation and the risk section also. So pretty much interesting concept, very good change in the curriculum, I feel. And this chapter is also being changed heavily, so you should be reading that chapter from the 2026 curriculum. Now there are 2 more chapters within the bucket of private equity, which is private equity investing and budget buyout. So primarily there were 3 chapters. The first chapter itself has been changed. The other 2 chapters, there is no change in the learning objective. Okay, further there is private debt section, no change for you guys from the 2025. The learning objectives have almost been same, so do not worry. You can, even if you do not have the book, you can just go through the 2025 curriculum and prepare for the exam. Okay, hedge fund. So hedge fund has also been one of the heavy topic in terms of the weightage. Now over here what they have done is they've changed the name of the chapter and they've removed few specific learning objectives. Okay, and short selling, which was previously another chapter, has been moved over here. Okay, so some juggling has happened in terms of learning objective. They've tried to make certain chapters slightly leaner and more good in terms of connecting the concept better for the students. Okay, so there was a hedge fund chapter, that name has changed, one learning objective has been added. Okay, all the other chapters are almost the same in terms of the learning objective. There's no change in the hedge fund section. Okay, macro and micro, important chapter, relative value chapter, all of these are almost same. Now we're going to be moving towards the digital asset. Now this is one single chapter. Okay, and in terms of the section also, there's one single chapter over here. Over here what they've done is they've removed few of the learning objectives. Okay, and they've moved to level 2. They've taken it to level 2, and they've added 2 new learning objectives for students. Again, there is a change, but the change is slightly minimal in terms of new content. Okay, so remember that. Also, funds of fund, entire chapter remains the same. Okay, this was the last chapter of your curriculum overall. And what has been the changes? So what are the major changes? Which chapter there has been major changes? You can have a note on all of these chapters where there is a change in the learning objective. You can take a snapshot of this and make sure that when you read this chapter, you go to the 2026 curriculum, and please remember this chapter has been removed, standard of practice has been removed. Okay, so this has been the major change. And for people who are preparing for the upcoming March 2026 exam, okay, our admissions have opened. We have the video lectures, we have the question bank, we have the live batch. So in case you are interested, in case you need hand holding for your preparation, you can definitely reach us out for your preparation perspective. We'll be happy to help you and guide you for the exam. We have these 3 packages, which is the basic, which has the question bank, the standard, which is the video lectures, professional, which has the question bank, videos, and the live session. Okay, all the details are available on our website. You can watch the demo lectures also, plus the success stories, students who have cleared the exams across the board. We have added those success stories also, and we also do a lot of podcasts for students to get an industry specific view. Okay, all of those discussions are available on our YouTube channel. You can watch those, put your comments, like and share and subscribe, and do join our community, because we are now quickly moving towards 30,000 community, strong community, talking about variety of exams in under finance. So I expect that you also become a part of it, and we can grow together, learn together, and clear the exam. Okay, so thank you again for joining us. In case you have any query, you can reach us on this WhatsApp number. We'll help you out, guide you out for the exam preparation. So thank you very much guys for joining in.